When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.
Hey, welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, a show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. So let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. Doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can make an amazing life in sales. Today's guest, no stranger to that journey, I'd like to welcome Melanie Gorman to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hear more about your story. I was reading your profile as we were getting started, and so I don't want to steal your thunder. Let's just jump right in and hear your crazy sales story.
So I trained to be a therapist. I'm a mental health therapist, right? Which is not what you typically see in sales. When I was way young, went to grad school, became a therapist, and I was a bartender. You know, I did all kinds of stuff like most people do to kind of make their way. And I answered an ad in the paper because I had, multiple jobs for a relationship-minded salesperson. It was in the paper back in the day, right? And certainly thought, oh my gosh, I could do that. Like I could totally do that, right? I talk about relationships all day long. I understand how people think. I'm trained, right? And I have this like easy conversational way that I've learned from waiting tables or tending bar and all this stuff that I did in college. And those two things are an absolute fit for the life I've created since then. Right. And for me, it all boils down to the authenticity with when you're selling something that you're in love with and you believe in. It's not a job. It's a conversation. It's a relationship. It's fun. Right. So and I took that far. I went and worked. So my second job after the relationship minded salesperson was working for John Gray, who wrote the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I did that in 2001. Right. This is not like now when he's, doing lives and on his way to retirement. It was way back in the day. And it was before the internet, what it is today. And he was a huge name, and being able to talk to people, be comfortable with people, flub things up, make good apologies, make it work, not have to be fake, but just get to be myself. Worked and worked and worked. And now I run my own business and I help therapists create businesses. But it's that seed of authentically knowing who I am, what I'm good at, and what I do, and finding a niche where people needed someone that it was a perfect match. So that's my crazy sales story.
I love that for so many reasons. First and foremost, the sales industry, you don't go into life thinking you're going to be in sales. You happen into it somewhere along the way, right? You realize like, all right, great. I am okay getting uncomfortable and having conversations with people, and you can develop that skill and you can learn the different aspects of it. And I'm a big, big proponent of relationship-based sales. I think it feels better to me personally. A lot of the clients that we work with, like they don't want to be spammy or salesy or, that weird, icky kind of professional. And so in your journey, being that you are trained on the relationship aspect, what have been some of like the biggest things that you've realized as far as going into the conversation? Because I think that's like a big issue for people that call reluctant. So like, how do you go in with that relationship based mindset and still know like, hey, this is part of what we got to do?
So I have two things to say there. One is the other person is more anxious than you are. Don't forget it, right? They don't know what you're about to say. They're expecting to be sold. They have all kinds of preconceived notions. So don't react to that, right? Just allow that to be and form a relationship with them. Talk to them about something that is meaningful. If you get 5 minutes, make the 5 minutes count, right? Be memorable with what you're saying. And the way to be memorable is by being authentically yourself. Ask them how they're doing. Find out about their life. The second part is to slow it down, right? My experience is that when people are anxious in sales, they're like, right? And it's awful. It's terrible, right? So don't be afraid to say, we got to have another conversation. Oh my gosh, it was so great to get to know you. I know we only had 5. Can we schedule another call? Because when you allow their anxiety to just be present and then dissipate because you don't force them out of it by being awkward or weird or, just pushing your whatever your agenda is. People calm down. When they calm down, there's gratitude. They're like, oh, this wasn't as bad. Because chances are if they scheduled the call, they need to talk to you anyways. So have some confidence in yourself. And if you have to fake it till you make it, that's how we all get here. None of us know what we're doing. I mean, the first time I attended bar, I was like, hi, what can I get for you? Right. And the guy's like, whatever he ordered. And I'm thinking, do I know how to make that? Like, do I know what I'm doing? Right. So yes, I can pour off the tap, but do I know what I'm doing? Chances are I didn't. Like, fake it till you make it is fine. But the relationship is what gets you to the next step. And if you slow things down, you're not putting yourself in a position to like make magic. You're putting yourself in a position to, hey, let's start the first step of a relationship. And that's real. That's authentic. That's how we do these things in life. You're going to get more second calls, callbacks, like other opportunities, referrals. I just got a person emailed me not 5 minutes ago who said, Melanie, it was so great having a sales call with you. I don't think we're the right fit, but it was such a great conversation. I'm going to keep your name and refer other people to you. That's a win. That's a win. So I would say that.
Yeah, I love that. And I tell a story often about one of my greatest referral clients, like wasn't even an actual client of mine. It was just someone that same situation, had an amazing conversation, looked at everything, and logistically it didn't make sense. And we were both okay with that because not all business is good business. And so the ability to build a relationship where someone still said, hey, this person is amazing. I want to send them people because I do wholeheartedly believe in them and we want that relationship.
Yeah.
It's something that's underutilized in the careers of a lot of sales professionals because, as you said, they want to rush through the script. They want to just get to the point. They want to get that yes or no, and they want to get off the phone, like as if the number of times they can do that is the most successful way. And there's a numbers game for sure, but I think the ability to go one step deeper with people and be okay not having to one call close. There's so many trainers out there will say that are like, you gotta sell them, you gotta beat them up, and you gotta guilt them and shame them into like doing the thing. And it's interesting how the majority of people I speak with, right? I can't say for everyone, but the majority, they want to feel good about the thing that they're selling. And so when you made that shift from, being in the mental, health space essentially to, all right, now I'm being in the mental health space, but from a sales perspective, what made you decide to get into building your own business, right? Because you said you sold for someone for a number of years. What was the step that was like, okay, it's time to go on my own and do this thing that I know I'm really, really great at?
So I was always the entrepreneur that was employed. Do you know what I mean? Do you know people like that? Like they have that, like, get it done attitude. That's just who they are. And I was that person, right?
Intrapreneurs is what I've coined
Oh,
it
that's
as, or someone else coined it as, but like I
Oh,
stole
thank
it.
you.
So
Thank you for telling me that. I was that person. Like very much like every job I've ever had, like I take it, I own it. I want to master it. I want to be great at it. I want to feel good about it. So I did that for a long, long time. And I decided to go out on my own because I wanted to build business in a way that I wasn't able. I was held back at the job. I mean, I was a VP. I had a great job, right? But I was held back and they wanted me to do only a specific set of things. And I tried working around it and saying, I have other skills and I want to try something and I'm bored and I want to branch out. And they didn't want to let me do that. And so I had to face that fear of saying, okay, so I'm going to go out on my own. The big surprise was it wasn't hard, right? That was the big surprise. I really expected when I remember telling my husband, I was like, okay, I don't have a paycheck anymore. Like, I don't know what we're going to do, but like, we're down to you. And we have 2 kids. And I was like, we got to make sure this is okay. And we were fine because I had all these skills already. And so when I went out on my own, I created systems. I did the things that made repeatable process. I waited to I did every job that is part of my business. And then once I had enough, I brought people in, right? So just like I do in my sales calls, I started slow and I got what I needed. And then I figured out, okay, how do I branch and how do I do more? And, so it's expanded and it's been very organic. And I mean, and honestly, it has not been hard because it is the thing I'm good at. When you're in a sales role where you love what you're doing, the world needs it, and you feel confident and pride and all of those good things, it doesn't feel difficult. It just feels like, hey, let me help you. And my motto is candidly like, if I help you and you help other people, we help the world. And I want to in on that every day. Right. Like I want to be a part of that stuff. Right. So yeah, that's how I did it.
Yeah, I think I appreciate you sharing that, being a little bit vulnerable with us, because that's the stuff that I talk to a lot of people who feel stuck, right? They're
Mm.
in that position of, well, I know I need to do something, but I'm kind of okay right here, and I can keep getting by and doing this the way that I'm doing it. And I've been in the situation where you think that's the way it works, and then all of a sudden someone comes in on Sunday and it's like, hey, I need your keys. Thanks, but
Yeah.
have a wonderful day. And
Ugh.
and then I've also been in the position like you said, where it's like, hey, I'm a C-suite in this company, I'm doing well, like kind of bored, want to do some other things. It seems like what I'm saying is falling on deaf ears. So what does that look like?
Yeah.
And there's probably some folks out here listening right now that are going, oh shit, I'm in that trench. I'm in that spot where what do I do next?
Yeah.
And as you said, it's never as hard as you think it's going to be. It's hard, don't get me
It's
wrong, but
hard.
like,
No, it's hard. Yeah. But it's not, it's hard.
it's fulfilling. And I think that's what I love about sales. Kind of when I mentioned that in the introduction, is like you can create the life that you want as long
Mm-hmm.
as you're willing to be disciplined. And I also really appreciate what you said about the confidence aspect, because I think that's where people get in their own way a lot. And so I want
Mm-hmm.
to peel that layer back a little bit with you, because I, having had taken that experience and being someone who understands the relationship aspect, how does that really weave into, like, as you're starting to hire and put people into those roles, like how do you manage their expectations and help them feel as though they're a part of that growth cycle as well?
Yeah. So I think confidence is evidence based, right? Like I think people that have challenges with confidence, they need to create like stuff around them to see that they're succeeding, right? Tangible, sticky notes. And like I remember the first sale I got when I went out on my own, I made a note that said, you're going to be okay for this reason. And I wrote it and I put it in front of my computer. And I was like, okay, I remember that, right? You have to have
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's visible to you that addresses that emotional gremlin that's inside of you, that's going to take off when, oh my gosh, the sale didn't close, or the lead didn't happen, or the call never showed up, or someone no showed, whatever it is, right? So look for the evidence and create it in a way that you will pay attention to it and allow it to be true, right? If you close that sale and you made that money and you did it, don't let whatever that soundtrack is that's playing in your mind that says you're not enough and all your negative stuff. Like you have to allow that evidence to be real and keep collecting it, keep adding it up, because that will help the confidence and it will grow naturally. And then all of a sudden one day you'll wake up and say, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing here. I keep my team small and I keep my team connected to the goals we have. And I make sure that we're aligned in the goals. So one of the things as a leader that I do is I'm very, very transparent about where we're going, right? So I spend the time to figure that out. And I know like for my business, my goal for 2026 is I want to 4x the number of websites we're building for people. That's a huge goal that we have, right? But I couldn't get that. I had to get their buy-in to say, okay, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to sell all these things, right? And then you're going to fulfill on all these things, right? Are we aligned, right? And they had to talk about that, right? One person said, yes, but I'm dealing with a mom who is older and she's not doing well. So there could be a gap in my commitment. I'm like, great. Then we need to talk about when you train somebody underneath you. What do you want to do? I think, it's all relationships, right? It's all about how do you get your people to be part of your winning team. And I read this incredible book called How to Buy Back Your Time. I don't know if you've seen this
Mm-hmm.
book. It's
Yeah.
such a good book. I think one of the key takeaways from his book is 80% is perfect. It's amazing, right? So I don't expect perfection. And that's something that people compliment me about from my team. I'm a leader. I need you to get it 80%. I need to define what 80% looks like. And I need you to show up and do that for me. You do that for me, I'll take you over the finish line. right? Because I have done every job that's here, right? And I started so that I could figure out how to scale and how to build. So I think those things, when you're leading a team and you want them aligned with you, you have to like line all those dots up. You can't skip over them, right? A lot of people are like, well, I want to get to that part where I hire a team and I don't have to work as much, right? Well, good luck. Then you're going to be, going, what are they doing? And how are they spending their time? And why does their invoice say all this stuff? Like, you don't want to be in that place. Like, set them up to win, because if they win, you win.
Yeah, I love that. And the 10-80-10, the 80% portion
Yes.
that you mentioned,
Yeah.
like, fantastic. It's something I think a lot of us who start businesses, we'll call ourselves the founders, right, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
We go through that phase of like, nobody can do it the way I can do it. And
Yeah.
it can be tricky. And so what I want to shift gears just a little bit to kind of lean in on that a bit, in the sense of, okay, you've started your business. Now you have to get yourself out there and tell the world about it. Because as much as we want to believe, hey, I'm going to start this business and everybody who knows me is going to be super excited and they're all going to come lining up with their pockets open, ready to buy stuff from me. Very rarely the case. I hate to break it to y'all. Like,
Doesn't
just
work that way.
understand, strangers are going to buy from you long before your friends and family. Now, you're going to have your diehards, the ones that are there to support you no matter what. But like, the majority, over the 80%, in my opinion, but we'll just say 80%, right? 80-20 rule. They're going to ignore you completely. And 6 months from now, they're going to be like, what do you do again? And you can be on there every day talking about the thing that you do. So I want to know, Melanie, because you're in that space now, like, how do you help the new business owner, the small business owner that's maybe even just a couple of years into business? Like, how do you help them understand the aspect of marketing that's so important to the sales process?
I talk about marketing as a pie chart, right? So I talk about it and I lean into the idea that there's so much you have to do, right? There's so much marketing. Let's start with what you like. Let's start with what you're good at. And let's think about what you actually have. Do you have, resources that you can hire someone to help with something? Maybe you have none, right? You got to do this. You don't have to do everything. So I teach people how to make decisions that lead them to where there's more potential. Because I do SEO, I use a lot of data research to be able to say, people are looking for it this way, not that way, right? So I help them with data to figure out, you need to, and I work, the majority of my clients are therapists, right? So you need to be on these directories. You need to have a Google My Business page. You absolutely need a website, right? You don't need a one-page website. You need a proper website, right? And it's overwhelming. So I lean into as much as they can handle, figure out what they have, what they say, time, talent, and treasure. Like, what do they have, right? So that they can start to make forward momentum. And I frame it as a long-term relationship, right? Yes, I can build you a website. We can put it out there in a handful of weeks and it can be beautiful. That's just your online business card, right? That's not doing, that's great. And you need it when that lead shows up so you can get a little closer to the sale. But now you got to do the next thing and the next thing, and the next thing. So I think that understanding that arc of a client and really knowing as a business owner, like, what are you selling to them at the beginning stage, at the middle stage, and the intermediate, and at the end, right? And I have clients I've had for 10 years, right? I haven't built them one website. I've built them 3 websites, right? So it definitely is your own awareness of what they need. But the other side of it is staying ahead. Like, I spend more time studying. Like, my son goes to school an hour away, right? And I drive him to school and I listen to YouTube videos, and then I listen to another one and another one and another one. And I come home and I transcribe them and I put them in ChatGPT and I get all the talking points because I couldn't take notes. I was driving, right? All the time. Every week I'm doing this, because if I'm not ahead of what's going on in the technical space, I'm not useful. So you have, ego aside, I'm only as helpful to somebody as I'm ahead of them. We don't buy things from our peers. We buy things from people who are smarter than us, right? So you have to stay ahead. And if you stop learning and just go, oh, I'm good, man. I'm just going to go I'm going to coast for a little while. Good luck, right? Just like everything else, somebody's coming behind you, somebody who's hungrier, who's willing to do the hard work. You said determination earlier. Like, your determination it will dictate your results, right? And when your ego and your, and it's okay to get tired, take breaks. Like, that's totally cool, right? I take time off every year, right? But I get right back in it, right? And as long as you can do that, then you're the smart person in the room and people want to hire you because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I love the way that you frame that around the relationship still. Because at the end of the day, your marketing is basically telling the story about why you do what you do and how it's going to help someone. And ultimately, that is what most relationships are built around. As much as people don't want to admit it, like, that's how this works. And so when you're really focusing on helping people, I think that's when you see the most success and the most growth. And so what I'd be curious about, because we could probably nerd out on this all day long, right? We could do this forever, but I want to be respectful of your time. And I know that this is just the tip of the iceberg with how much stuff that you can share with the world. So what is the best way for us to come find you, follow you, check out more of your content, and learn more about what you do to help those folks?
Yeah, super nice of you to ask. So my business is called Crownsville Media. So my website is crownsvillemedia.com. And I'm happy to do a consultation with anybody. There's a little Calendly. Like, it's all the same stuff everybody has. And here's a little trick. Like, my business is called Crownsville Media because there's one Crownsville in the whole US, right? So when you're thinking about the name of your business and you're trying to be memorable, think like that. Like, think about how many Drewbies are out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the most common name on the planet, right? It's special. So think about those kinds of things so you're memorable. And, Crownsville Media is how you find me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that last little tidbit. Someone's going to hear that and realize as they step into starting their business, hey, I heard Melanie on the Call the Damn Leads podcast, and by golly, this is what she said to do. And they're going to be incredibly amazed how well it works. Ask us how we know, y'all, because we've done this a time or two. And so, Melanie, I just want to say thank you so much again for your time today. What a wonderful conversation this has been.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you guys know what to do next. If you enjoyed the show, share it on social media, tag us, let the world know you spent a little time, you got some value out of it. Maybe send it to someone you know who's in that like weird sucky pit and they're trying to figure out, do they quit their job and go all in on themselves? Like, no one can give you the answer but you. But this episode might give them a little push to do the thing they know that's best for them. So send it their way. And as always, if you have an amazing sales story, we're always looking for great guests. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Check out the show. Get signed up. Go buy your team some swag. Hang out with us. Enjoy the movement that is called the Damn Leads. And go pick up the phone. That's what you got to do next. We'll see you guys next time.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn lead.